Earlier this week, I reported on a story of a teacher who is feeling pressure to only tell one side of the story, and he feels as though he's being forced to indoctrinate kids with an ideology that is heavily one-sided. In that same story, I showed you a father who walked in on his little boy listening to the Canadian national anthem being sung in Mandarin with a Chinese flag displayed on screen as part of his online school class. I'm Tamara Ugolini with Rebel News, and in order to learn more about how kids are being indoctrinated in the school system, I reached out to a young man who seems to have made it his mission to expose the extreme ideologies on his YouTube channel. His name is Maxim Smith. I'm joined here today with Maxim Smith. He is a 15-year-old, once at one time high school student. Currently, I understand, Maxim, you're being homeschooled.
Yes.
And you are from Colorado. We won't go into specifics on where you live exactly. Can you tell me a little bit about what transpired to make you now choose homeschooling?
Well, a lot. I mean, school had just started, my first year of high school. I just started it, and I had started to see the very first day I saw both, my English teacher and my principal were wearing Black Lives Matter shirts. So they weren't even trying to hide any of that stuff. And they also had their pronouns, their preferred pronouns in their Zoom names. And so it's not only the, I guess, ideological stuff that we were having thrown in our faces constantly. We've had this stuff, I mean, in curriculum as well. We've had multiple instances of this stuff being found within curriculum. Um, we've had times where in this class called human geography, which I don't even understand what that is necessarily, but we had a preferred pronouns lesson where we watched a video that told us to use students' preferred pronouns. And it was not only that, but it came to the point where they delayed school openings until August, and then they delayed it till October. Now it's November, and it's probably not going to be until next year. And who knows when it's going to open next year. So it's a combination of the quality, the fact that they don't even open anymore, and the fact that they are openly pushing aside the fact that they have a job to do and deciding to talk about Black Lives Matter preferred pronouns and all of this craziness that we see a lot of today.
What was the push for you that made you want to start this initiative?
Yeah, I was actually talking to my dad about all of this, and he suggested that I should actually make I guess, a formal group of students that could find a group in which they could expose this political bias. And they don't, they always remain anonymous constantly. They cannot give any other student's name. They cannot give their own name. They have to remain anonymous all the time. And it just creates a group for kids to do this, and I guess allow the schools to guess be held accountable for the fact that they have a job to do, and if they're not doing their one job, which is to actually educate kids, and especially for public schools. I mean, parents pay taxes for the taxes to go specifically to public education.
Mhm.
The people that work there should be serving the parents and the students, and if they're not doing that, then they need to be held accountable.
One of your most recent videos, you point out the ideologies of Ibrahim X Kennedy, who, for instance, and I have this tweet that he was equating the term legal vote to to be functionally racist, a functionally racist term.
Yep.
So those teachings and those ideologies have infiltrated the school system, and specifically, you were speaking about his book Stamped.
Mhm.
Um, and you actually flip the script in this video, and you say that these ideologies are actually promoting and teaching racism. So can you share some examples that you've seen yourself or that you've had shared with you through the Free Minds Project that confirm that these ideologies are being taught to students?
Yeah, well, one of the most recent emails I got was from one high school student who had to read the book stamped. And I've noticed that the whole anti-racism look into things is actually just being racist towards white people, is really what it is. But white people can't be racist towards anyone else, which is a very strange thing I've noticed. And I wanted to point that out in that video with the evidence that student gave, because it's it's not right. No person should be racist to anyone, and shouldn't be, given a green light to do something like that to one specific group of people. But this is being promoted within schools, and it's like, oh yeah, it's perfectly okay, just go ahead and do this, but you can't be mean to these people, but these people are fair game. So it's just like, all I'm saying is I don't want politics within the classroom.
And that's the whole point of your Free Minds project, is to expose these radical ideologies within the school system, especially as it seems that it's very difficult to find what the actual curriculum outline is for the various grade levels.
Yeah, I mean, when I try to expose these schools, and I do that every Monday, it's very extremely difficult to find most of this stuff. And it feels like it's done on purpose, because I think that if any parent tries to go on a school website, curriculum should be right there. They click it, they can see everything. But I went to the Austin, Texas Public Schools website, and their curriculum page just talked about the curriculum, but it had no, I guess, context in the curriculum was actually about, or what was in the curriculum. So for me, who's actually trying to look into this, but I can't find very much about the curriculum. Whereas parents that may take maybe 5 minutes to look into this stuff and can't find it at all. That's just terrible.
Well, and it leaves a lot open to interpretation. And of course, that interpretation is taken by whoever is doing the teaching.
Yep.
Now, just going back to your experience when you were within the classroom, did you find that you had any fellow pupils or any of your fellow students who were questioning or opposing the narratives that were being taught to them in the classroom? And did it affect their grades?
That's a good question. I don't know if it affected their grades, but I do know that there were other kids. This one kid I'm thinking of in particular, he was he liked Trump. And whenever he would try to paint Trump in a good light within the classroom, there would be this one very ideologically driven kid that would call him a racist, call him a sexist, call him everything under the sun. And he was always put down because of it. And I could see, because I would watch the one kid go after this kid, the whole class. And I could see how the kid who liked Trump would start to, I guess, say his opinions less. And he started to not speak his mind anymore. And I definitely saw this with the teachers as well, because a lot of the teachers, both in my private middle school and public high school, were very politically biased, driven in one way, and they would actually promote that within the curriculum and teach one specific way. And I think it caused a lot of kids to not voice their opinion, because a adult who we've been taught, I guess, that all adults have some authority because they are adults, which a lot of them do. But at this point, I don't think you can call a lot of these older people adults, or even teachers, if they're not even teaching anything at this point.
Do you have any final thoughts for your fellow students, apart from, question authority and have an opinion, as they try to navigate through this system?
Well, definitely, I would encourage everyone to, if you've had any experiences with this sort of political bias within your own school, then, you know, contact me and I'll make a video on it. I definitely want both images and pictures and videos of this stuff. I've done it myself as well. But just to, like I said, stand up and just reject this Orwellian stuff like, oh, think this one way,
Mhm.
let's all stand in line, just a ton of sheep doing the same thing, and actually free your mind. That's why it's called free minds. It's just
Mhm.
free your mind, stand up, and do something.
Mhm. What does the future hold for Free Your Mind? So right now you're obviously just starting out. You're collecting evidence and opinions. Where do you plan to go with that once you feel like you have a good stockpile of things to expose?
That's a good question. I think that if I could turn this into a, guess, project veritas of education, that would be my goal, to make sure that it was exposed on a very big platform for many, many people to see. Because once you just even expose this stuff, then people will just get away from it. Because once enough parents start to see what is going on within schools and actually how bad it is. Because I know that a lot of parents have an idea, just a small idea, that this stuff is going on, but they don't actually know how bad it is.
Mhm.
And I think that, just as what Project Veritas does, um, once you actually expose it and show everything that's going on, then you can start to actually make a big impact.
Where can people go to find out more about the initiative and how to get in touch with you?
So you can go to exposeeducation.com, and all the videos, everything is on there. That's where you can contact me. You can look at all the videos just in case the YouTube channel gets taken down, and everything is on there. So if you want to contact me for free minds to expose your own school, then you can go there.
The reoccurring theme here seems to be that parents need to take an active role in the educational teachings happening to their children. It is reassuring to know that despite seemingly best efforts, students are still taking it upon themselves to free their minds. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. If you haven't already, check out my colleague Drea Humphrey's report on how the Chinese Communist Party indoctrinated BC school children through the Confucius Institute. If you'd like to support the work that we do through government access to information requests, consider donating at rebelinvestigates.com. That's rebelinvestigates.com.